forgot to check the apples. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki. In today's video, I'm sharing another full day of eating only 0-point foods on WeightWatchers. I like to do this as a fun challenge to come up with different meals that are made using only 0-point foods. It's helped me to get a little more creative, but still really prioritize protein and fiber, and I just have fun doing them. I don't really recommend that you do 0-point days to do it as like a reset or fast or anything. I don't think that that's necessary, although it's not really a fast. You'll see that when I prioritize protein and fiber, I still pretty much hit my calories and all my macros for the day. So that's kind of how I like to make this challenge. It's just for fun, nothing I really recommend that you need to do to lose weight. But anyway, I just always feel like I need to say that before we start this. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I've got my stuff ready for breakfast. I actually kind of planned out a little bit of what I'm going to be doing for each meal today, just to make sure I had the ingredients. So for breakfast today, I'm going to be making some roasted potatoes that I'm just gonna roast in the air fryer. This is the brand Simply Potatoes. This is their diced potatoes. I also really like their hash browns, but I'm just gonna pop these in the air fryer with some nonstick olive oil spray, some granulated onion, and then some buttery steakhouse seasoning. So I'll let those roast up in the oven, and I'll be having those with some scrambled eggs. So I'm gonna make 3 scrambled eggs, which are 0 points on WeightWatchers. Then I've got some turkey lunch meat, which is also 0 points, and this will work well as a good protein mixed in the eggs. So I'll just cut this up and mix it in once the eggs are done. I also am going to cut up some red sweet peppers, and I think I might just put them on the foil with the potatoes that I'm roasting. Those will get some nice flavor and get roasted up as well. I am going to be mixing 2 tablespoons of low-fat cottage cheese into the eggs. I've had so many people tell me to do that, and I always forget about it, so I thought that today would be perfect for that, because that serving of cottage cheese is 0. If you do fat-free cottage cheese, it's 0 as well, but I've got 2% here today, but it's still 0 points for 2 tablespoons. If you do any more, it adds points, but I'll be making that for my breakfast. I can't have my protein coffee today, but I do want some caffeine. I'm gonna have one of these sparkling ice caffeine drinks. They're 0 sugar, 0 points on WeightWatchers. It's 5 calories for the can, and the one that I'm having today is tea and lemonade. So this one's really refreshing. It kind of tastes like an Arnold Palmer, and it's got a good tea flavor to it. I've really been enjoying it, and I really like that it's got 70 milligrams of caffeine. So I'm gonna get started making my breakfast. It's 0 points on WeightWatchers. Once I track everything, because I like to just do that for these days, I'll let you guys know the calories and protein in this meal. I find when I'm putting vegetables and stuff like this in the air fryer, it's easier to just use a foil like this, and I just get them from Sam's Club. After I spray them with the nonstick spray, I add the seasoning and kind of use the foil to shake them around to get each potato coated. Then it was perfect to just use the same foil to roast up the sweet peppers, so I'm just chopping that up, put it on the foil, and I pop it in the air fryer. Whenever I make scrambled eggs, I usually use 3 at a time just to make it a little more filling, get some extra protein. I forgot that I had egg whites, but I did add the cottage cheese and mix it till it was pretty blended. I like to cook my scrambled eggs at a high heat, so I add them to a pan and just continue stirring them until they're done. I also added some salt and pepper, and then I didn't start the eggs until the potatoes had cooked for a little bit, so I already moved them around in the air fryer. So once I rotated them and restarted the air fryer, that's when I started cooking the eggs, so they would be done at the same time. But then to the cooked scrambled eggs, I added the peppers and then some turkey lunch meat, which is 0 points on WeightWatchers. I was originally going to put them on top of the potatoes, but I decided to just separate them, put the sriracha on the eggs, and then that was my breakfast. I thought about also adding a sauce to the potatoes, but they were actually really good plain, and they had the perfect crisp to them. Okay, here's my finished breakfast for 0 points on WeightWatchers. I did track everything so that I could get the calories. So this comes out to about 446 calories, and it's got 49 grams of protein. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. I did add some sriracha onto it, and the cottage cheese melted really nicely with the eggs, so I'm excited to try this. Got a little bit of everything. I always forget how much I enjoy the turkey lunch meat with scrambled eggs, so that's really good. That'll make it more filling and it adds really good flavor. And I feel like the cottage cheese really does work well, especially because it adds more protein and it gives it more of just like a cheesy taste, but it doesn't really change up the texture. There's not like big chunks of the curds or anything. They're all like melted in with the eggs, so that's really good. And then the potatoes air fried perfectly. 0 points. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my breakfast. Okay, it's now lunchtime, and today what I plan to make is some chicken salad on roasted sweet potatoes. potatoes. I've got these 2 sweet potatoes here I'm going to make for Adam and I'm just going to wash them and then kind of slice them so that they're almost like long like crackers or something. It's going to be more like a flat thing so that I can put the chicken salad on it after they're done roasting. So I'll just slice them like this. You guys will see what I mean, but first I need to wash them. I am just going to leave the skin on because I prefer it that way, but I'll pop them in the oven at 400 and roast them. I'm just going to spray them with some nonstick olive oil spray and add some seasonings. Then I'm going to make the chicken salad that's going to go on top. I've got this shredded chicken breast, which is 0 points on Weight Watchers, and I'm going to be mixing it with a good amount of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, which is 0 points on Weight Watchers, and will add a good amount of protein. The chicken alone is also a lot of protein, so this will be nice and filling. I'm gonna add some seasonings to it as well as a little bit of this Arizona Heat mustard. And then I'm also chopping up a red bell pepper and a red onion that I'll mix in with the chicken salad as well. I think I'm also going to have a side of grapes with this. I love grapes and chicken salad together, so this will be a nice filling meal like I said. I just need to get started on the potatoes because they'll take a while in the oven. I'm also going to be making the dogs a little birthday cake treat thing because it is their birthday. We don't know Pluto's exact birthday, but they guessed that it was in December, and Maggie's is also in the middle of December, so we just pick a day to celebrate them, and I want to make them a little cake. I might do that since I'll already have the oven on, but I'm just gonna get started with the potatoes and chicken salad and see where I'm at. I made sure to wash the sweet potatoes, and I like to leave the skin on, but you could definitely peel them for this. I almost wanted this to work as if it was like little slices of bread or crackers, so I did want them to be a little bit more on the thin side. And the thickness I did turned out to be perfect. It was still a little bit soft in the center, but it had a nice crispy edge to each of them. But we're each gonna have our own potatoes, so I'm cutting up 2 of them today, and then I spray them with some nonstick olive oil spray and add the buttery garlic seasoning. I also added some onion salt, and then I just flipped each one over and sprayed it again with some of that nonstick spray and did another layer of seasoning. My oven's been preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, so I pop the potato slices in the oven and then get started on the chicken salad. The red onion I had was kind of small, so I just chopped up the whole thing and added it to the bowl, as well as a red bell pepper. Then the shredded chicken breast that I got had some pretty big chunks in it, so I added it to the bowl with the pepper and onion, and then I put on some gloves so I could just easily separate it into smaller pieces. This chicken didn't have any seasoning already added to it, so I wanted to add some flavor with the mustard. I added pepper, also some garlic salt, onion salt, and then I have a ranch seasoning from Trader Joe's. I added a good amount of that. I don't really measure out the Greek yogurt, but I added a good amount, and you can see the chicken just sucks it up, so I did have to add a little bit more. But I just keep mixing it and adding the Greek yogurt until it's the consistency I prefer. The sweet potatoes were still baking, so I just put the chicken salad aside and quickly got started on the dog's cake because I already have the oven on. All I use to make this is whole wheat flour, oats, and peanut butter, and then some hot water, which helps it just mix together a little bit easier, especially with the peanut butter. Then I just added it to a pan that has a parchment paper, and I sprayed with some nonstick spray. I also put on a glove and sprayed it with some nonstick spray so I could flatten the cake down. Then it was perfect timing. Once I finished making the cake, the potatoes were done in the oven, so I put the cake in the oven and got my potatoes onto my plate. I put the chicken salad on the potatoes while they were still hot, and it kind of warmed up the chicken salad, which I really liked. And I wanted to make sure I got a lot of protein, so I did use a good amount of chicken salad on the potatoes. But the combination of the sweet potatoes with the chicken salad was perfect, especially having grapes on the side. I also just love the combination of grapes with chicken salad. And this kept me full for a long time. It was definitely a filling and really tasty meal, especially for 0 points. Okay, sorry if you can hear my oven going. I've got the dog's cake baking in there, so it'll be done pretty soon, but my lunch is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. This is 0 points on Weight Watchers. I've also got a side of red grapes, which are 0 points as well. But here I've got the sweet potato slices. They're nice and seasoned, and some parts got a little bit crispy, but they're also kind of soft in the middle of the thicker ones, which is what I actually wanted. I think this will be really good with the chicken salad on it. I did add a little bit more when I first tracked it. I put 4 ounces of chicken, but I upped it to 5 ounces because I did a little bit of a bigger serving. So this is 0 points. It's got 469 calories for this plate, and that also does include the grapes. I did track those as well. For protein, this has 48 grams of protein. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this while the cake finishes up baking. I have to finish editing a video that I'm working on right now, and then I need to figure out what we're doing for dinner. Something with hearts of palm, and I think ground beef. I'll be back with that. Making the cake pops is always really satisfying, especially ripping apart these giant cakes. This is technically a triple batch vanilla cake here, and it makes me about 90 cake pops once I mix all this together with some frosting. It's definitely time consuming, but something that I can get done earlier in the week, and I just pop these in the freezer so that they're ready for me when I need to dip them and have them fresh for orders. I just finished up rolling the cake pops, so now it's dinner time. I'm running a little bit behind, but this should actually be pretty quick to throw together. We're doing hearts of palm. So this is from Aldi, although sometimes I get it from Trader Joe's. This is linguine pasta. So hearts of palm is 0 points on WeightWatchers. It's just cut into the shape of linguine. This packet has 60 calories. It's got 12 carbs, 6 grams of fiber, 3 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of protein. And we'll each just have our own bag. Then I'm going to be making some meatballs using 90% lean ground beef, also 0 points on WeightWatchers. I'll mix this with some seasoning and actually an egg, and then I'll form it into meatballs. The seasoning I'm using, I've got some garlic butter and some garlic parmesan. I also have minced onion, but I'll be adding that to the sauce, and then probably some onion powder. Then once the meatballs have cooked up a little, I'm going to add some tomato sauce and also some petite diced tomatoes. I'll just strain this can, so that way it just makes it a little bit more filling and it'll be nice and saucy. I was also thinking about mixing in like 2 tablespoons of that cottage cheese that I have to make it like kind of a ricotta, but I don't know if I want to blend it up first and then add it, or just add it straight into there. I know it'll be kind of like little curds, but it might be fine when it starts to melt. I'm just trying to do this quick and throw it together. I'm gonna go ahead and get the meatballs started first, and then I pretty much just need to heat this up. It doesn't need to like really be cooked or anything, so you just heat it with the sauce and stuff like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I didn't even think about the fact that I would be rolling balls again. I just finished up the cake pops and then realized I was doing meatballs for dinner. But I add the lean ground beef to a bowl with some egg and seasoning. I completely forgot I was going to add oats to this because they're 0 points, but the meatballs actually turned out fine without them. Usually I do panko breadcrumbs, but that is actually points. But anyway, once I combine the meat with the seasoning and egg, I use my food scale to weigh out equal portions. I wanted to make enough meatballs that I had some leftovers because we weren't going to eat the entire thing of meat tonight, so I want to say I did about 20 here, and I just roll them till they form a nice ball shape. I like to just cook the meatballs in a pan on the stove, and I just add them as I roll them, then I cover and let them sit for a couple minutes. I continue to flip them around and let them fully cook, and then it's time to add the sauce. So I just directly pour the can of tomato sauce, the strained can of tomatoes, and then the different seasonings just directly on the meatballs. I used some onion powder, garlic salt, and garlic butter seasoning. I let the meatballs simmer in the sauce for a few minutes covered, and then I take them out and just put them in a bowl for a second so I can add the hearts of palm. I also decided to add just a couple tablespoons of the cottage cheese, which really added some creaminess and flavor to the sauce. I strained out both bags of the linguine hearts of palm, and then it was easier to just use my tongs to separate them and get them fully coated in the tomato sauce. Then I just divided the hearts of palm and the sauce into 2 equal portions, and then the meatballs I divided into 3 portions so that I had 1 leftover amount. It always blows my mind how much this actually looks like a bowl of spaghetti, but 0 points for this, and it was so delicious. Okay, here is my finished hearts of palm linguine with tomato sauce and meatballs. So this is 0 points on WeightWatchers. It really does look like it's just normal pasta, but it's hearts of palm, which kind of tastes like a mix of asparagus and artichoke. I really like it, especially with red sauce like this, and then the meatballs will make it nice and filling, add some protein, and I did mix in some cottage cheese, which it melted pretty nicely. So this is 0 points. It's got 38 grams of protein, and for calories, it has 405. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, and I'm not having my apple after dinner because I'm actually just using it to make my dessert tonight, so I'll be back with that. For these apple fries, it's like the potatoes. You could definitely peel them if you prefer, but I usually just like to leave the skin on. I just chop up the apple, which I have a Honeycrisp apple here, into fry shapes, and then in my air fryer basket, I put a foil with some nonstick butter spray. I chose the butter flavor nonstick spray. I thought that would add good flavor with the cinnamon, make it almost like buttery cinnamon roll. And then once the apple was fully chopped up, I put it in the air fryer basket on a foil, sprayed some of that nonstick spray, and added cinnamon and some Flavor God buttery cinnamon roll topper. I just tossed them around with my hands to coat them, added a little more of that topper, and then popped them in the air fryer. While those were cooking, I wanted to quickly frost the dog's cake, so in a bowl I just mixed some plain Greek yogurt with peanut butter, and then I just spread it out. I was debating piping something onto it like words, but I thought that the treats would be cute and they would definitely enjoy that, so I just wanted a flat base of icing. I was going to write happy birthday in the treats, but realized that would just cover the whole cake, so I decided to just do HBD, but I wanted to make sure that it fit first, so I lined them up next to the cake, and then I was just able to stick the treats onto the frosting into the shape of the letters. I finished that up, but before I gave it to the dogs, I needed to make my Greek yogurt frosting for my dessert, so in a bowl, I've got the non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I added some cinnamon, vanilla, no sugar added syrup, as well as just some regular cinnamon, and I just mix that together and add it to a piping bag so I can drizzle it on top of my apple fries. I've just been moving them around in the air fryer every few minutes, and then once they get a little bit crispy, I take them out. I drizzle them with the cinnamon Greek yogurt, top them with a little fat-free whipped cream, and then that is my apple fry dessert for 0 points on WeightWatchers. Then it was time to give the dogs their cake, and I didn't even know how to go about it, but I let them just start licking it and realized Pluto was going to eat it way faster. So I just ripped it in half. Maggie loves her treats, but she's definitely much slower at eating, so I had to help her out a little bit more and break it up. Pluto devoured his. He got some frosting on the floor, but he did make sure to lick it up, so they were very, very happy. Okay, I'm ending the night with my dessert, so I've got my apple fries here, and Maggie's eyeballing them even though she could barely finish her half of the cake, but they're very happy and content with it now. So I'm ending the night with my apple fries, and I'm gonna give a quick recap on the day. So I am at 0 out of 24 dailies for today. Everything I had was 0 points, but that doesn't mean it's 0 calories. So I've tracked everything and I'm actually pretty low on my calories for today. I'm honestly surprised I don't feel more hungry being this low for my calories. And my protein's not super low, but it's on the low end, so I feel like I would be more hungry right now. But I have been a little bit less active lately. I haven't been able to rollerblade in a while. I haven't been getting as many steps lately because it's been so cold and snowy out. So that's also part of it. I feel like I'm just not as hungry, but I would definitely want to get more calories than this. Anyway though, let me just go through it. So I had about 1,530 calories today. I had 36 grams of fat, 144 carbs, and 146 grams of protein. I had 22 grams of fiber. So I was even a little bit lower on my fiber goal for today. But again, I felt like I had a good amount of food. I felt like it was a good day of eating. Every meal was really delicious, and I'm really excited for these apple fries right now. That'll be the perfect way to end the night. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I like to do these to give some inspiration with different meals packed with proteins and 0 point foods, fiber, veggies, all of those things. It really is important to prioritize them in order to hit your macro goals, to make sure you're getting enough protein in the day and eating enough when you're doing the Weight Watchers program, because the foods that have points really do add up quickly. And I know a lot of people have like 23, 24 dailies that they get. I personally, when I'm in weight loss mode, get 24 dailies. So it is hard to stay within those points and eat enough in the day if you're not prioritizing a lot of 0 point foods like this. So I like to do this to give some ideas for meals, and I just have fun with the challenge overall. It's not something I could do sustainably because I really like my pasta and bread and cheese and all the things, and it's just important to incorporate everything in moderation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.